right? All right, coming back to Ria's question, yes, Ria, that empowerment is the right answer in the last slide. My answer, probably I highlighted it wrong. So I also got confused, but no worries. No shame in being wrong, right? Unless you correct your mistakes. So yes, empowerment was the right answer and not workforce diversity in the last one. That is true. In financial strategy, you think number of shares, I've written share price. So both of the things will be there, is what I understand here. आपका share price भी होगा, number of shares भी होगा, only then you get the market capitalization. And basically your market capitalization is more of your valuation, right? Your market capitalization is more of your valuation, right? The last quiz, I'm pretty sure I was wrong. As a financial strategy, you said, and you said, there are only 3 questions, right? Not 4. Tino I've answered. Great. Now it's audible, audible, audible. Perfect. Chalo. Good that I'm audible. And thank you for everyone who has joined in. I was not able to read all the names because I got confused with the audible thing. But thank you so much for everyone who has joined in on this morning on a Saturday. Thanks for showing so much passion for study. Thanks for coming in here. Half of your battle is already won because you are dedicated to study, and that means everything for someone who is in the student life right now. Right? Awesome. I see a lot of people today. Really good to see a lot of people typing in. And the same amount of people who are writing not audible. I would really want all of you to be interactive in the session as well. Okay. I want to ask a lot of questions today while understanding the concept, right? And after chapter 7, so what I've planned is after chapter 7, what we'll do is today we're doing chapter 7. After chapter 7, I will do a hardcore quiz again. We'll do a 30-40 minutes super hard, super tough quiz again. Majorly all the exam questions, exam oriented, right? I'll not take the questions from study material. I prepare very new questions for you guys. I'll create new questions for you guys to practice, but we'll do that after chapter 7, right? After chapter 7, एक बारी quick revision, really tough, so that you understand where you stand. So I would really request all of you, that is tomorrow, I think we'll be completing chapter 7. Tomorrow also we have a session, right? And then, so that you get a view out of these 7 chapters that we have done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, how strong or how good you are in this particular subject as on date, right? That test will actually help you analyze that for yourself, right? So we'll do that. We'll do that after chapter 7. Cool. Okay. Chapter number 7 is basically a big one. Okay. Chapter number 7 is basically a big one which talks about 2-3 things. Okay. It talks about an organization structure and it talks about leadership, right? It talks about 2 things, that is your organization structure, and it also talks about a lot about the kind of leadership that should be there in a particular company. Okay. Now, where does this chapter come and fit in? Where did this chapter come and fit in this particular syllabus? Okay. Now, look at this. Once you develop your competitive advantage, right? In all the chapters that we have been studying, we understood strategy kya hoti at different levels. So we started with understanding what is strategy, what is strategic management, how is strategic management done, how is SWOT analysis done, how is portfolio analysis done, right? Portfolio analysis kya hota hai, how is it done, what is SWOT analysis, what are different kinds of analysis. Then we went on to understand about your corporate level strategies, then business level strategies, then we have functional level strategies in chapter number 6. Sab samajh aa gaya, right? Strategy kya hoti hai, what is strategic management, all the levels, what are the kind of strategies at every level that are taken up, what are the ideologies, what is the focus point, what is the target of each level of strategy, samajh aa gaya. But tell me, unless you have a structure in place, strategy is impossible to implement, right? And this chapter talks a lot about structure of an organization. How is it organization structured? CEO hai, CFO hai. Are we going to have 2 CFOs? Are we going to have 5 CFOs? Are we going to have 1 CFO? Are we going to have a big company distributed into different areas? or I'm going to have a central organization जहाँ पे center में बैठ के सब decisions लिए जाते हैं, right? So is it more like a decentralized company, or it is a centralized company? Is it an empowering company, or is it like a power in the hands of very few executives? How is this company going to be? What is this company going to be? That is what this chapter number 7, organization and leadership, strategic leadership, talks about. Okay, cool. So once you develop a competitive advantage, right, what do you have to do? You should have a proper strategy and a structure in organization, a strategy and a structure in organization to implement, to build on that strategy. Okay. Now, effective strategic leaders are the top management. They seek to develop two things. Okay. Organizational structure and accompanying controls. Organization structure बनाने का idea क्या है? Okay. This entire chapter will study about different structures of our organization. The idea behind any kind of organizational structure is control. Okay. How do you want to control this? How do you want to control this? How do you want to control your organization? That means keeping a check on whether ideas, whether vision and mission are being accomplished, whether objectives and goals are being met. How do I control my organization? That is the basic idea behind creating any kind of structure, right? Whenever we talk about any structure in the next 1 or 2 hours, just think from a control perspective. Why is this company, or why this kind of a company would do this structure? Because it is easier for them to control things. That is why they go for that structure, right? Control is going to be your keyword in organization structure, right? Control is going to be your keyword. Cool. Okay. Let us first understand the basic, what do we call a framework? Okay. Organization structure, a framework. Now, I have a question for you. A lot of times in previous sessions, what I've been studying, a lot of people get confused with framework. What is a framework? What is a framework? Organization structure, we're going to study a framework. What is a framework? What do you mean by framework? The answer is on the screen though, but still, what do you mean by a framework? Organization structure, a framework. We're going to study about a framework. What is a framework? If you have answers in Hindi, that is also right. If you're not able to get an answer, how do I explain that? If you want to write something in Hindi, that is also okay. But only for understanding purpose, not for example. Exam में English में आएगा. What is a framework? Organizational hierarchy, plan. Framework tells us how to do any work. Basic structure, right? Okay. What else? What else? All of these are basically right. All of these are essentially meaning the same thing. What about others? Everyone who wrote not audible, you have to answer as well. You cannot escape answering questions, right? Outline. Shakti says an outline. Okay. Makes sense. So framework is basically a broad outline. Right? That is right, Shakti. A formal configuration. That is also right. A formal configuration, a broad outline is a framework. Now, I want to plan my timetable, right? Whenever like you have all these subjects at intermediate level, what are you doing? You're planning how to study, what to study when. That is a framework, right? That is your study plan. That is your timetable. Timetable is a formal configuration of your time. कि इतने बजे ये पढ़ूंगा, इस डेट से इस डेट ये पढ़ूंगा, रिवाइज इस दिन करूंगा, एक हफ्ते में ये रिवाइज करूंगा, 4 दिन में ये रिवाइज करूंगा, right? All this is your framework. Similarly, a company has a broad outline. This is how my company will look. This is how my operations will look. This is how my people will be there in the organization, right? This is how will I divide my company to get better control. This is how I want to divide my company to get better control. That is a framework. That is an organization structure, which is a formal configuration. When I say formal means When I say formal, formal means it is there on paper, right? ऐसा हवा में बातें नहीं होती कि ठीक है CEO ने बोल दिया तो होगा, नहीं. It's a formal configuration. Everyone sits around, all the top executives sit in the board meeting. They decide how we want to shape our company, how our company wants to structure itself. Then they decide that. And that is your formal configuration. It's written on paper, it's there on paper, it's available to the shareholders, it is available to the bankers, it is available for the government, right? It is given out publicly. That is a formal configuration, right? Organizational structure is influenced by factors such as organization's age and size. Okay, very important thing to remember. Organization का structure is influenced by its age and size. Right? अब कंपनी बहुत बड़ी है, अगर कंपनी बहुत बड़ी है, right? So it will have a different structure from a company which is very small, right? Now think about this: a startup with 5-7 people, the structure of operations, how people are in that organization, will be very different from when that company becomes a 10,000 people strong company, right? 5 people and 10,000 people in a company. The structure will be different, right? The age. It's a very new company. Everything will be chaos. कहीं से कोई भी काम कर रहा है, right? Anyone is doing everything. And so if you get a coding expert, if you get a coder, if you get an engineer, he or she will do anything, right? If you get a CA in a small company, they will do everything: income tax, GST, litigation, your Companies Act compliance, everything. Everything एक ही CA करे. But when the company becomes big, you divide the work. You hire 3 CAs. एक सिर्फ इनकम टैक्स देखता है, एक सिर्फ GST देखता है, एक सिर्फ कंपनीज एक्ट देखता है, right? So age and size influence an organization structure. Second is acts as a framework. It acts as a framework which reflects management's determination of what a company does and how tasks are completed, right? That means again we are talking about control, right? Again, we are talking about control jahan pe, that it really depends. It really gives you an idea how the management wants to control its organization, how it wants to control its operations, right? That is what this means. 2 things. Organization framework, organization structure is influenced by the age and the size of the organization. Number two, it really reflects the management's determination of how it wants to control the organization's operations, its vision, mission, its objectives, its tasks, everything. Okay, how it wants to control everything in the organization is what organizational structure talks about. Okay, cool. Change. Let us talk about change in an organizational strategy, right? Or in a corporate strategy. Why do we come to this topic, right? I'll tell you why. As the company grows, okay? Now think of this. A company is very small. It goes on to become a bigger company. It goes on to become a more big company. It goes on to become a very big company, right? And finally, it becomes the market leader. Now think about this. It is not just about a company changing for the sake of changing. It's about when a company or a business starts growing, right? When a company or a business starts growing, they need to change their strategy, right? They need to change their corporate strategy, which is true. आप जब बड़े होते जाओगे, your strategies will change, your priorities will change, your preferences will change. Similar thing happens for a business. A company, right, which is very young, they want growth. At this stage, they want stability, right? पहले growth strategy करते रहेंगे, then you go for a stability strategy, and then you go for a liquidation or a retrenchment strategy, right? That is what we have studied. Now, this is exact same thing which requires change in organizational structure also. Think of this. When a company is small, just 5 people, everyone is doing everything. Then the company becomes big. It has 100 people, okay? You want a CEO, now you want a CFO, now you want different people, like finance team honi chahiye, ek HR team honi chahiye, operations team honi chahiye, XYZ team honi, marketing team alag honi chahiye, right? So once you become big, You start thinking, let me divide the work problem, right? Let me divide. Sushi, there's a problem on your side, right? So your network is an issue. I can't help on that, Sushi. Okay, so from 5 people, it becomes 100 people. From 5 people, it becomes 100 people. So you want a different department, finance department, hona chahiye, HR, marketing, right? So your organization structure changes. The organization structure changes. Now you become more big. Now there are around 500 people, right? अब within finance department you want कि यार income tax अलग हो जाए, GST अलग हो जाए. Within operations you want that like your premium quality अलग हो जाए and lower segment अलग हो जाए. You start dividing your organization further. You start dividing work within your organization further as you become big. Now you become more big. Now there are around, let's say, 2,000 people in your company, right? Now you say, boss, let me divide the company into two businesses. I have now two products. I have soaps and I have shampoos. Right? मेरे पास soap भी है, मेरे पास shampoo भी एक product है. Let me divide the company into better control मिलेगा. I will have better control. I'll be able to manage even better, right? That is what change in organization structure means. And finally, you become so big that you have around, let's say, 10,000 people working in your company. Now your structure changes even further, right? You have now 7, 8 products. You have services also, products also. You have this, you have operations in Indonesia, you have operations in Africa, you have operations in Dubai, you have operations in, let's say, XYZ country, right? Now you even have gone global. Now you have more work, you have more people to manage, you have different geographies to manage. So your organizational structure changes again. Now you have subsidiaries, you are the parent company, subsidiary aa gayi, subsidiary ke andar you have different businesses. You have to divide that work and manage everything and control everything. That is why change in corporate structure, change in your organizational structure keeps on happening as you grow, right? As you grow, one thing. And second is whenever you change your strategy. The basic idea is whenever you grow, you change your strategy. Kabhi marketing mein hote ho, kabhi kisi mein you become a core competency. First your core competency is marketing, then your core competency becomes your product, then your core competency becomes your customer service, right? Your strategy keeps changing, and with your strategy change, your organizational structure also changes. That is what this line says. Changes in corporate strategy require redesigning the way an organization is structured, right? Why? Because number one, the structure largely dictates how operational objectives and policies will be established, right? How the operations will be done, different ho jate hain. 5 people, 100 people, 500, 2,000, 10K. The size of operations becomes big. The size of operation changes, and so does your structure should also change. Number two, structure dictates how resources will be allocated. जब structure change हो जाएगा, then resource allocation, when your strategy changes from marketing team, I'm spending money more on my product design, or I'm spending more money on my customer service, after sales service, right? Now my strategy changes, my allocation of resources changes, and so will my organization structure. With the change in corporate strategy, there will always come a change in organizational structure. Right? Okay. Organizational structure. What is the basic idea behind an organizational structure, right? And how is change so important? Why is change so important? Now read this example, okay? Read this example. What happened is, in 1993, Steve Jobs made a visible change in the management style of Apple, okay? Immediately after the former CEO, Mr. John Sculley, he resigned, and Steve Jobs became the CEO. Now, what happened is Steve Jobs changed the entire strategy. The strategy was not to become a computer company. The strategy was to become a design company. So Apple initially became a designing company. They designed really, really attractive products. And that is their core competency till date, right? iPhone, you look at an iPhone and you feel yeah, ये बहुत ही सुंदर phone है. You look at a laptop and you say ये तो बहुत ही सुंदर laptop है, right? They work on design. Their core competency, he changed the strategy. He changed the strategy to a design company. And that is why the organization structure also changed. The structure of the organization also changed for Apple because the strategy changed. right? See, changes in organizational structure can facilitate a strategy implementation effort, but changes in strategy should not be expected to make a good strategy bad, or a bad manager good, or to make bad products sell. Okay, now think about this. What is this particular para saying? This is really, really important. It says that a change in strategy or structure, a change in organizational structure, changes in organizational structure do not guarantee success, right? अगर आप organization को structure को change कर रहे हैं, that does not mean कि आपके पास success आएगा ही आएगा, right? A change in organizational structure does not guarantee or is not expected to make a bad strategy as good, or to make bad managers as good, or to make a bad product sell. You have to work really, really smart and hard on your product, on your strategy, on your managers, on building a good culture, on hiring the right people. Organizational structure change करने से जादू नहीं होता, right? Organizational structure is just a subset. Organizational structure is just a subset of your strategy. Strategy को control करने का तरीका है organizational structure. It is just a way to control your strategy. It is not ensuring कि भाई जादू हो जाएगा, your business will be booming if you change your organizational structure, right? इसलिए whenever a company is changing the organizational structure, they should not think कि यार धंधा चल नहीं है, चलो organizational structure change कर लेते हैं, right? That is not going to help. It is just going to help you control things better, and that might lead to success. That might, but that is not guarantee, right? There is no guarantee, right? Is this concept clear? Is this concept clear? Give me a yes, please. Give me a yes, all clear. Everything is clear, so that I can move on. I've been speaking for the last 20 minutes non-stop. Are you guys even active, or you went to sleep in your cozy blankets? Are you guys still with me, or sleeping now? Give me a yes, all clear, or ask me questions, ask me doubts. I'll be happy to answer. And try not to be wrong this time. But I'm really glad you guys are studying. You're going back doing some homework, right? So that you understand what went wrong, or you want a correction in the PPT or something. Really, really happy to see that. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Ananya. Shakti says, Sandeep says, Raman says, Pooja, Tina, Rohan, Nitya, Nikita. What about others? I got more than 50 people saying I'm not audible. But when I ask a question, there are just 7-8 people who are always active. Why is that so? बाकी सब क्या कर रहे हैं? बस audible लिखने नहीं आए आप. Oh, thanks, Khushi. If you're listening with concentration. Probably don't be concentrated so much that you sleep. Probably you will be in your dreams and thinking, हाँ सुन रहे हैं. More like a parvachan, right? This is not a parvachan here. But good that you're listening with concentration. Great. Okay, Dora says, Shraddha is there. That's great. If you're sitting on a chair and a table, nothing beats that. Sitting on a bed is like one of the worst decisions you can take for yourself while working or studying. I was never ever able to study on bed. Well, now I can do that, but not when I was studying. Chalo. Okay, cool. Let us go on to the next topic. Let us quickly go on to the next topic, which talks about the relationship between strategy and organization structure. Okay. So there's this uncle called Alfred Chandler. Okay. Great guy. He says he has a book. He says in this book is called Strategy and Structure. And by the name of it, we understand he's talking about the relationship between strategy and organization structure, right? He says that the need to restructure arose from strategic shifts driven by new technologies or markets. Simple. This guy says that whenever you change your strategy, you change your organizational structure. Whenever you change your strategy, you change your organizational structure, and change of strategy, a major reason. The major reason for a change in strategy is because there is some new technology or there is something new in the market, right? There is something new, the newer technology, or there is something new competition in the market. And that is the major reason for you to change your strategy. And when you change your strategy, you have to change your organizational structure, right? Okay. Now, as organizations grow, that is what I was telling you. As organizations grow, their structures generally change from simple to complex. Abhi, I gave you an example, right? So I'm also Alfred Chandler now, right? As a result of linking together of several basic strategies. So what he says is, now look at this, very important. इसमें क्या होगा? A lot of questions can come from this particular thing, right? A lot of questions can come from these 4 statements, because if I give you an example, it becomes a question. Now think of this. Small firms tend to be functionally structured, यानी centralized. जो छोटी कंपनी होती है, जो small firm होती है, that is centralized. एक head सेठ जी हैं, he is taking all the decisions. Think about, let's say, Gada Electronics, right? Jethalal is centrally managing everything. Purchase भी वही देख रहा है, sales भी वही देख रहा है, operations भी वही देख रहा है, looking after the shop also he is doing. It's a small company, it's a small business, right? Everything is centralized. All the decisions flow through him, right? That is a small firm. That is a small company. Centralized hota hai. Now, medium-sized firm tends to be divisionally structured, right? Decentralized hota hai. When it becomes a little big, when the size increases, medium size ho jati hai, it divides work into 3-4 people, right? Let's say let's take an example of a CA firm only, okay? A CA firm, which is a small firm, everything goes through the partner or the owner or the proprietor, right? Medium-sized firm ho jati hai, right? They have like 7-8 people as partners. Let's say 7-8 people as partners. What happens? 2 people look after income tax, 2 people look after indirect tax, 2 लोग audit देखते हैं, 1 internal audit देख रहे हैं, right? So a middle-sized firm, it is divisionally structured. They divide their entire work into different areas, and then each of those is responsible to grow that particular business, right? So income tax wale partners will be concerned with income tax ki operations, the growth of income tax department, more clients coming into income tax. That is what they target. That is what their function will be, right? So medium-sized firm वैसे हो जाते हैं. What about large firms? Large firms, they use 2 things. या तो वो SBU structure में चले जाते हैं, or they use the matrix structure, right? Either they go into SBU structure or they go into matrix structure. What is the difference? We'll study that in depth, okay? But what happens is, इसको ये separate business की तरह देखते हैं, right? So KPMG audit, KPMG USI, Deloitte USI, EY GDS. You see all these words, you will be doing an article, you wanted to go in articleship or after job, like after becoming a CA, go for jobs. There's like EY का GDS है, Deloitte का US business है, back office है, front office है, India office है. मैं EY India में हूँ, मैं EY US में हूँ, मैं Deloitte USI में हूँ, I'm into Deloitte India, right? मैं Deloitte consultancy. What is this? इतना division. It is EY at the end, it is KPMG in the end, it is Deloitte in the end. But they are separately managed. उनकी strategies अलग हैं, उनके operations अलग हैं, their leaders are different, their CEO, their CFO are all different. But at the end of the day, everyone is EY, everyone is KPMG, everyone is Deloitte, right? So that is what large firms structure themselves. So that is how large firms structure themselves as, right? Strategic business units या matrix structure बना लो, right? Then finally, we have consumer good companies. Consumer good companies or very big companies. आपका जिंदल स्टील हो गया, आपका सीमेंट हो गया, HUL हो गया, पतंजलि हो गया, रिलायंस हो गया, LIC हो गया. Super big companies. They tend to emulate. That means emulate means to imbibe, to take control, like to ensure, to create, to build the divisional structure by product form of organization. right? This also we'll study in depth in the next coming slides. So what they do is, अभी पतंजलि अपना बिजनेस कैसे डिवाइड करती है? पतंजलि से अच्छा, मेरे पास टूथपेस्ट है, मेरे पास सोप है, मेरे पास घी है, राइट? तीन मेजर थिंग्स है, एंड देन आई हैव अदर थिंग्स लाइक बिस्किट्स एंड एवरीथिंग एडिबल, राइट? एडिबल सामान और है मेरे पास, एंड मी आई आल्सो हैव मेडिसिन्स. पतंजलि से मेरे पास इतना सारा धंधा है, आई हैव सो मेनी बिजनेसेस. व्हाट डू आई डू? They divide themselves into divisional structure, right? Medicine division, toothpaste division, soap division, ghee division, and edible snacks division. अलग अलग divisions में पूरा business divide करके they manage it, right? And how is a divisional structure different from a matrix or a SBU? We'll study that, right? How are these two different? How is SBU structure? How is a matrix structure is different from a divisional structure? अभी पढ़ेंगे वो. Quickly we'll do that in the coming slides, okay? But Alfred Chandler ने simple समझा दिया. छोटी कंपनी होगी, functional structure centralized. Medium-sized firm is going to be decentralized. Large firms are going to have a SBU or a matrix structure, and very complex organizations like huge consumer care companies or large companies with operations all around the world with 20-30 brands under their company, they are working through a divisional structure, right? They are working through a divisional structure. Okay, right. Now let us move on to understand what the relationship he is talking about. Very simple, बहुत simple flow है. Alfred Chandler कह रहे हैं, so what Alfred Chandler said? He said, आपकी strategy change होगी, तो आपको organization structure change करना पड़ेगा. And when your strategy changes, your organizational structure changes, and organizational structure changes because of change in technology or a new product in the market, something new in the market, new technology. इसलिए आप strategy change करोगे, और जब आप strategy change करेंगे, your organizational structure will also change. So what is the flow of activities as per Alfred Chandler between the relationship of your organizational structure and your strategy? Now, new strategy is formed. जब आप नई strategy बनाएंगे, new problems will emerge. Right? When you create a new strategy, new problems will emerge, right? Your organizational key performance will start declining because you will have a lot of problems. When your strategy changes, you get new problems, आपकी efficiency गिर जाएगी, right? Your performance will start declining because something changed. Your strategy changed. You will not be good at your strategy from day one. You will build on that strategy, right? So when your organizational performance starts declining, what you do? You change your structure. You restructure your company. A new organizational structure is established, right? And with that, organizational performance improves. When organizational performance improves, you start growing. And when you start growing, you again need a new strategy, right? आप बड़े हो जाओगे, you will grow and you need a new strategy, right? Simple है. When you were a kid, your strategy was to just go to school, right? Now, as you grew, now you are becoming you're leaving your teenage, you're going into a more professional, particularly age group, right? Your motive is to get a good job. Your motive is to start your company. Your motive is to bring something like valuable into your life. Create, like, how do I earn money? How do I become a better version? How do I be successful? What is my dream? All these problems start coming to you, right? बचपन में तो problem नहीं थी, right? As you grow, these problems start coming to you, right? You start understanding the value of money. You start understanding money. You start understanding what kind of study we need to do, what kind of padhai is needed, what are different areas, what are different things I can do, right? I can go for a startup. I can do a startup. I can do this in technology. I can disrupt this, or I can go for a job. In job, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do a business in trading. I want to do a business in share market. I want to be a trader. I want to do this. I want to do that. All these new problems emerge, right? And your structure, how you want to structure your life changes. That is also what happens with the business as well. That is also what the business is doing, right? Business, so if you start relating with your life, it becomes easy because everything keeps happening with us also, right? So new strategies formed, new problems emerge, your performance starts declining, you change your structure, your performance starts improving, and finally you need a new strategy because you have grown now, right? Because everything improves, you become a bigger company and you need a new strategy. Or if your performance is even not working out, if your performance is not improving, you still have to change your strategy. And whenever you change your strategy, you will have to change your organizational structure, right? That is what Mr. Alfred said. Right. What we'll do is we'll start with structures now. Simple wala structure to sabse pehle abhi kar denge, right? But any questions so far? But my only concern is that if you have any doubts or questions, कि अच्छा क्या कहना है, what is structure, क्या ये Alfred भाई क्या कह रहे हैं, right? So all these questions, if you have, like, what is Mr. Alfred saying? What ये relationship क्या है? ये क्या है? If it's everything is clear, wonderful. Nothing like it. That is what the idea is. That is why I'm speaking for the last 40 minutes constantly. But if you still have any questions, any doubts, ask me in the next 1 minute. And then we'll quickly start with the types of structures. We'll be studying simple structure, SVU padenge, divisional padenge, right? Multi-divisional padenge, matrix padenge, M form padenge, right? Network structure padenge, hourglass structure padenge. So a lot of structures we have in this chapter, and very, very interesting. आपको पढ़ के लगेगा यार ये तो हम जानते हैं, I know this, but I just didn't know this is what it is called, right? Awesome. Thanks, Vivek. Thanks for saying no doubts. That helps. Pooja says all clear. Wonderful. Sakti says all clear. What about others? Thanks to everyone who is replying. Thank you very much for replying. What about others? I would want to see others also saying all clear, right? What about others? I think Saturday सब लोग सोने चले. People are like यार आज छोले भटूरे खाएंगे, Saturday है, अभी सो जाते हैं, मस्त क्लास तो बाद में देख लेंगे. Thanks Kushi, thanks Sandeep, awesome. And now the curfews and everything is lifting up, so people are like आज तो छोले भटूरे खाएंगे. I'm pretty sure people have slept off. For all those who are awake, congratulations to you, right? आप लोग आगे हैं उनसे अभी. Sandeep says done, okay. Tina says clear. Meman, Arpita says all clear. Thank you. I wish I was right. I'm just giving you examples. I just practice these examples and then I speak. Yeah, thanks Celesi, thanks Disha. Chalo. Awesome. Let us move on to the first structure. Bhaiya. First structure is called simple structure. The name itself is simple structure. Simple structure is owner manager, right? Owner is the manager. Classic example Jethalal, right? Classic example is your Jethalal. That is the kind of business. 80% of businesses in India, 80% of businesses in India are simple structure, right? All these shops, all these traders, all these wholesalers across India, right? This is what a simple structure is all about. Okay, great. We have a question. So Ananya is asking, what are the examples of administrative problems? Administrative problems can be anything. People are leaving company, profits are not. So you look at problems in every function. Like function strategy, we studied 6 functions. Aapka marketing, finance, HR, R&D, logistics. उसमें कुछ भी problem आएगी. That is an administrative problem, right? Logistics is not working, right? Logistics, because your company became so big. Now 10,000 people are asking for my product and I'm only able to produce 8,000 goods. That means there is an administrative problem. How do I make 10,000 products? I need to solve that problem as a business person, right? That is the kick. That is the excitement of doing the business, right? You get a new problem every day. अच्छा, trucks नहीं पहुंच रहे. Truck वाला contractor says कि नहीं है, petrol महंगा हो गया है, so I will increase the prices now. This is an administrative problem, right? Prices increase हो गए, truck वाला कहता है price बढ़ा दो. Then supply says that raw material is China से सामान लाना ban हो गया, raw material. I will not be able to give you raw material. That is an administrative problem. Marketing problem. Then you go and do an ad, but ad does not work, right? Or you do an ad and people on internet troll you, right? Social media people come and start doing protesting against your ad. Maybe they did not like your ad. That is an administrative problem. XYZ, कुछ भी हो सकता है. Administrative problem includes anything and everything, right? Now Meta coming and saying कि metaverse आएगा. Now Facebook or Meta is saying कि metaverse आएगा. A lot of people welcome that. Some people say, what is this gimmick, right? ये क्या मजाक है, right? We don't understand what is this. Share prices have started tanking, इंडिया में बिजनेस अच्छा नहीं हो रहा, शेयर प्राइसेस ऑफ फेसबुक और मेटा डिक्लाइनिंग, नेटफ्लिक्स का शेयर प्राइसेस डिक्लाइनिंग बिकॉज द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रॉब्लम्स, दे आर नॉट एबल टू ग्रो इन इंडिया. इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा कॉम्पिटिशन होता है. दैट इज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव प्रॉब्लम, राइट. कमिंग बैक टू सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर, right? Coming back to simple structure, right? Like your Tanish Jewelers advertisement. That is right. That is right. I also had that in my mind. So simple structure is owner manager. Your owner is the manager. He or she takes care of everything. Now think about a 23, 24-year-old girl who has a boutique in a very, like let's say, Amir area of your city, right? A very posh area, a very affluent area in your city. She owns a boutique, right? And she does a business of let's say 2-3 crore rupees in an year. It's a simple structure. She controls everything. Designing bhi khud, purchase bhi khud, right? Marketing bhi khud, operations bhi khud, controlling is strategy khud bana rahi hai, kaam khud kari, everything she's doing everything herself. Even if she has let's say 7-8 tailors or let's say 3-4 tailors, right? She is managing them personally. It is not like she has kept a supervisor. Right? Even if she has kept a supervisor, it's still a simple structure because decisions, all the decisions are taken by the owner manager. All the decisions are taken by herself. Similarly, a shopkeeper, a wholesaler, a showroom owner, right? Simple structure. Owner manager. Owner is the manager. A company staff merely serves as an executor. जो company का staff है, वो सिर्फ orders follow करता है. They're not there to take decisions for the business. They're not concerned with the profits of the business. They're not concerned कि business में क्या हो रहा है. They're just there to take your orders. They're just there to do what is expected of them. Right? That is what a simple structure is. For whom is it appropriate? किस type की company को simple structure रखना चाहिए? Right? Companies that follow single business strategy. Right? अभी small businesses की तो simple strategy होती है कि do I maintain, I just have to maintain a good profitable business. It is not like कि मेरे को number one बनना है, right? If you want to become a number one, then your strategy is different. Small business का strategies normal, मैं अपना ठीक ठाक पैसा कमा के घर चलाता रहा, right? That is a simple business strategy to be profitable at any given point in time, right? And offer a line of products in a single geographical market. ज़्यादा बड़ा business नहीं है. You're just covering a very niche or very small market or very local market. It is not like ki, oh, US may be operations, UK operations, Chennai, this, Kerala, everywhere people are buying my stuff. Not like that. It is like I'm a small business. I'm doing good business, let's say North India. Right? I'm doing good business, like South of India. I'm doing good business in West or East or Northeast. Right? A small market. I'm covering आसपास के 2-3 states. I'm covering more than enough. Right? Or companies implementing focused cost leadership or focused differentiation, right? That is what saying. थोड़ा focus होता है. जो small company होती है, they do focused your strategies, right? They focus on a small segment of market. ठीक है. These kind of customers I have to cater in this particular area. That for them, a simple structure is one of the best. For them, the simple structure is one of the best, right? खुद ही डिसीजंस लेने हैं, खुद ही स्ट्रैटेजीज लेनी है, खुद ही सब कुछ करना है, खुद ही मैनेज हो जाएगा, राइट? इट्स अ सिंपल स्ट्रक्चर. The characteristics, right? Characteristics of a simple structure are also simple. The simple structure की characteristics are also simple. Number one, little specialization of task. Specialization की कोई जरूरत नहीं, right? So small businesses अपना finance भी खुद देख लेते हैं, खुद ही they themselves sitting on the cash counter. They could taking decision कि बैंक में इतना पैसा डाल दो, ये पैसा FD करा दो, इस पे let's take this money, I put it in shares, I put this in FD. You invest your money yourself, right? No specialization. There is no finance department. There is no tax department. There is no operations department. There is no transport department. You take all the decisions yourself. Little specialization, right? Few rules to follow. ज़्यादा rules नहीं होते because the owner is taking all the decisions. Even if the staff has a problem, they go to the owner and tell them, and they take a decision quickly and everything is solved, right? Few rules to follow. Little formalization. Do you think in a small business, like I'm talking about a girl having her boutique or a shopkeeper or a wholesaler, do you think कि tailor जाके mail लिखता है कि I want to leave today, dear respected ma'am, because this happened in my house, I want to take a leave today? कुछ नहीं हो रहा. There is no formalization. ऐसा कोई फॉर्मल नहीं होता, बिजनेस डॉक्यूमेंटेशन हो रही है और समथिंग इज हैपनिंग, दे आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग, दे आर राइटिंग डाउन एवरीथिंग, एवरीथिंग इज ऑन मेल्स, नथिंग लाइक दैट. इट्स वेरी लिटिल फॉर्मलाइजेशन. बहुत ही कम फॉर्मलाइजेशन होती है ऑफ द बिजनेस, राइट. In the simple structure, very less formalization. Do not have to write letters and mails and get documentations, nothing like that. Unsophisticated information systems, right? कोई information system कोई sophisticated, it's not like you're working on SAP, you're not working on a very big like Excel sheets बन रही हैं. In a small business, it's not like you have annual plans coming and then quarterly review is happening, board meeting is sitting and they're deciding what is the next 5 years, what are the different segments we need to do, profit कैसे बढ़ेगा, ये कैसे होगा, कुछ नहीं. Unsophisticated information systems है. It is not like data कहाँ है, हमें data चाहिए, I want to analyze how is my market doing, what are my customers thinking, what is my average selling price, what is this, what is that, कुछ नहीं. There is no sophisticated information. It's an unsophisticated information system in a simple structure, right? Everything is unsophisticated. Unsophisticated means not very high end, right? It's not very well organized or very well high end softwares कि 4-5 लाख रुपए के softwares खरीद के they are taking decisions. ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता, right? Direct involvement of owner manager in all phases of operations, right? There is a direct involvement of the owner manager. We understand, ये तो हमको पता ही है. The owner manager is taking all the decisions themselves in this form of business, in this business structure, and every decision, small to small, big to big, right? From the smallest to the biggest, all the decisions go through the owner manager. That all decisions for a business go through a owner manager. That is what a simple structure is. That is what a simple structure is, right? Now, what is good about it and what is bad about it? What is good about it? How does a simple structure help? Why is it so popular in India? Why is it so popular in a developing country, right? Openness to innovation, right? Openness to innovation. By rules, there are no rules to follow. There is nothing formal nahi hai. There is nothing, it's so much formalization ki do we sit down and innovate? The owner thinks I need to innovate something new. I need to bring something new in my product or my service. You do it from next day, right? Now think about this boutique wali girl, right? She wants to innovate a design. She wants to design newer clothes, or she also wants to open up like your what do I say, a clothing line for men, right? She says ki lehenge banati hu, I will also make sherwani, right? Openness to innovation. Simple hai. Kal se she'll start making sherwanis also. Big deal for that business, right? It is not like बैठ के decide करें कितनी बड़ी market है, किसको चाहिए, कब चाहिए. No such rules to follow, no such brainstorming to follow. Simple openness to innovation, right? I am today making lehengas. कल मुझे I want to make sherwanis also. From the next day you start making sherwanis. Openness to innovation, to newness in the company. Greater structure flexibility, right? Structure flexibility भी है. So I have, let's say, 10 tailors. That boutique girl has 10 tailors, right? And she thinks that मैं सबको control करने में मेरा time चला जाता है. I want someone to supervise them, and I will focus on designing. I want someone to supervise these tailors. What she'll do? She'll hire a supervisor. Structure flexibility. अभी वो structure में she had someone below her, and then there were tailors, right? Structure में change हो गया. Now she has someone who reports to her. Right? She has someone who reports about what is happening with the tailors. Where is the work? Where is the work lagging? What work is done? How much time the work will take? Structure flexibility. उसने structure change कर दिया अपने business का, right? A simple structure में she can put people, she can remove people, she can put people anywhere, and she can get control over the management. Structure है. The idea still remains control. Even if it's a simple structure, we're talking about organization structures. The idea is to control your business. This is how she wants to control her business. Structure flexibility. किसी को भी डाल दो, right? And wherever you want. That is in your hand. Few coordination problems. Coordination की problems ही नहीं होती. Level ही नहीं है, right? There is no level. You can directly talk to the owner. Owner can directly talk to you. So coordination problems होने के chances are very less. It's not like कि purchase department writes a mail to sales department says कि हाँ हमारी इतनी सेल हो जाएगी, you can go and purchase. Then purchase department goes to quality control and tells quality control हम purchase करना चाह रहे हैं, कहाँ से खरीदे. Quality control goes to procurement department, logistics department goes to external market, brings the report, then comes to procurement comes to purchase goes to CFO, हमको पैसा चाहिए, हमें purchase करना है, CFO allocates some money. But then it goes to financial strategy. Finance team says कि हमारे पास इतना पैसा नहीं है. Then they go to banking team कहते हैं हमें लोन चाहिए. Look at the complexity. एक डिसीजन लेने के लिए कि हमें परचेज और करनी है, all the people in the organization are reached out to, right? In simple structure, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं कोऑर्डिनेशन की. She decides I want to purchase more. She calls up, भैया कल 5 कपड़े और भेज दें. Simple. No coordination problem, right? That is a simple structure का positive. And respond rapidly to environmental changes because decision खुद लेने, because the owner is taking the decisions themselves. The owners are the managers. They respond rapidly to environmental changes, right? What is the negative? What is so negative about this particular strategy? The negative about this particular strategy is significant pressure on owner and managers, right? What happens is इनके पास हमेशा टाइम कम रहता है, right? The owners have to take so many decisions that they are always short on time, right? And they might not be very skilled at everything. Now think about this. This girl can be very skilled at designing, but she cannot be very skilled at, let's say, finance. She is not very skilled at procurement. She is not very skilled at quality control. She is not very skilled at marketing, right? Marketing उसको अच्छी नहीं आती, but she is a very good designer, right? Now, this is a challenge in simple structure. She might not be a good marketer. She might not be good with money. She might not know finances well, but she's an excellent designer. So operations और product तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा, right? Your operations and product will be great, but your other things will suffer because you are the only one who has to take all the decisions, right? Plus, there is always lack of time. You will not be able to take good decisions at some point because you're always short on time, right? अभी 10 tailors हैं, 5 tailors गांव चले गए, 5 tailor गांव चले गए. You will be under pressure instantly under pressure, right? आपका business 50% हो जाएगा अपने आप. So that is a kind of pressure you have to take, right? And in big organizations, you have backups. कि अच्छा 2 लोग चले गए छुट्टी पे, कोई बात नहीं. We have other people to cover up their work, right? अभी यहाँ पे small business में, simple structure में, that does not happen, right? So that becomes a big problem. So Sandeep says, थोड़ी बहुत strategy तो होगी. There would be some sort of strategy. There will be some sort of strategy that even the small business, who the customer is, what's the demand. Absolutely yes. We're not saying strategy नहीं है. Sandeep, don't confuse a simple structure with not having a strategy. They do have a strategy. They do take strategic decisions. It is a part of strategic management only. Chapter पूरा syllabus is about strategic management. This is also, every simple business is a strategic. Even your Momos wala, I've given you examples of Momos wala. He is also doing strategic management, right? Just the volume is different. Strategic management, every single business needs it, does it. External analysis, SWOT analysis है, वो तो मोमोज वाला भी करता है, वो समोसे वाला भी करता है वो आपका, right? So we are talking about a better organized business of a boutique, right? So strategic decisions will always be there. What we are saying is, it is structurally flexible, openness to innovation ज़्यादा because it's a small company managed by the owner herself, right? So it's simpler to take strategic decisions. Doesn't mean you don't have to take strategic decisions. लेना ही पड़ेगा. A business cannot function without strategic management, right? Decisions, so everywhere you will anyway take. It's just that it's easier to take decisions. It's quicker to take decisions, is what we are saying. Decision to लेने ही पड़ेगा, right? Okay. Do you want a break right now? Let us quickly take a 10 minutes. It's 8 o'clock now. Let us take a quick 10 minutes break, and then let us start with functional structure. For everyone who is sleepy, boss, up to 8 बज गए. Get up, stretch yourself, drink some coffee or tea or chai or doodh or whatever you want to do. Let us meet you in 10 minutes be active, be more interactive, because we have really interesting structures coming up, functional, SVU, matrix. बहुत मजा आएगा to understand how does a company build up their structures. I'll give you examples of big companies in India, and then we'll understand the कैसे काम करते हैं, right? From my experience, I'll tell you. So let us meet in 10 minutes. It's 8 o'clock right now for me. Let us quickly meet in 10 minutes and let's go for a break and be back on time, please. Right? And we'll start with function structure. Cool. See you in 10 minutes. We are back. If you guys are also back, just give me a yes, we are back, and I'll be ready to start with the functional structure then. Awesome. Thanks, Charu, for saying you're back. Or who else is back? Let me see. Vivek is also back. Vivek, I really, really like your surname, man. That's a very cool surname. Nitya is back. Everyone, quickly assemble back so that we can start with functional structure. Very important. बहुत ज़रूरी है to understand functional structure, right? Because this is something that you will see when you get into an industry, you get into a big four, into a company, you start work. You have clients. When you do your practice as a chartered accountant, you will have clients who will have a functional structure in their business. So it's really important to understand the basics first, right? Quickly be back, everyone. Back. Great, Charu, Chaitanya, Sakti, Sandeep, Hina, Pooja is there, Memen is there, Harsh. I see, great, Sakti again, Harish, awesome. Okay, so let us quickly, without wasting much time, let us get into understanding the functional structure. Okay, functional structure hota kya hai? Very simple again. Functional, we know what a function is. We have studied functional strategies, right? We have studied functional strategies, dividing your company into same functions. In those 6 functions, generally speaking, there can be more functions, okay? Generally speaking, if you divide your company, if you group your tasks and activities, in those 6-7 functions, and you create those functions as a separate, a separate function to be controlled, that becomes a functional structure of a business, right? Now think about this. It groups tasks and activities by business functions, making it simple and inexpensive, right? जैसे ही कंपनी बड़ी होनी शुरू होती है, from a small company you start becoming a middle-sized company. The first and foremost type of organization structure that you can develop for your company is called functional structure. Functional structure क्या करता है? It divides your company into different functions. It helps you develop a structure जहाँ पे each function acts as a separate function and reports to the central authority. Right? Simple है. You would have seen this. CEO होता है, correct? एक कंपनी में you have a CEO. CEO के नीचे कौन होता है? CEO के नीचे let's say we have 4 people. CEO के नीचे we have CFO, right? We have CFO. Then we have CTO, Technology Officer. Then we have Chief Operations, COO. And then we have CHRO, okay? CHRO. What is this? This is functional structure. What is CHRO? Chief Human Resource Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Operations Officer. एक CEO के नीचे we have different heads of the function. अभी Chief Financial Officer is not concerned with marketing. The CFO, if you look at a CFO, what does a CFO do? CFO is not concerned about marketing. He or she is only concerned about marketing ka kharcha, the amount of money that is going to go into marketing. I, as a CFO, am only concerned with that. Marketing कैसे होगी, कहाँ पे होगी, किस mode से होगी, whether it be TV, radio, social media, not my job, not something I should be concerned about, right? Because I have to focus on my area. It is not like you don't care about it, you care about it, but that is not your expertise, that is not your area of focus. Better control करने के लिए, to control an organization better, the company divides itself into functions, and every function has a leader, right, who reports directly to the CEO. Every function has a leader who reports directly to the CEO, right? And that is how you have a CFO, a CTO, a CEO, CHRO, CXO, C-suite. Like for every function, you have a chief officer, right? And they all report to the head, which is the CEO, right? Human resources, CHRO is human resources, chief human resources officer, right? So this is what a functional structure looks like. Simple है. Every function को separate divide कर दो. For what? हम तो पढ़ रही हैं, like we know the keyword now. For better control we do this. We do this for better control. That all the functions को, if let's say marketing team says I want 7 crore rupees for advertising on Sony television, on Sony TV मुझे Sony channel पे ad करनी है, and the expense is 7 crores. We go to the CFO. CFO is expert in identifying, if I do 7 crores of advertisement, what is the kind of goodness, what is the kind of profit I can make from this ad? So marketing team says, was 7 crore की ad करेंगे and we can do a sales of, let's say, 20 crores. 7 crores की ad करने से we'll do 20 crores of business. So the chief financial officer thinks if I do 7 crores, even if they say 20 crores, 15 crores bhi hua, still I'm making 100% profit on that. Let us go and spend that money. From where will I get that money? I will have to identify whether I take loan or should I use my retained earnings from the balance sheet. If I use my retained earnings from the balance sheet, how will my balance sheet differ? And I have to report to the shareholders, right? Shareholder आके पूछेगा balance sheet में आपने retained earnings खत्म कर दी, कहाँ गई वो retained earnings? That is my money, shareholders' money. Where did you use that? So CFO is concerned with that. That is what a CFO का mind works like, and marketing team का mind works like in this different way. So everyone is expert in their area, and it helps in better control. Marketing वाले को पैसे की ज्यादा समझ नहीं होती. CFO को पता होगा कंपनी का पैसा कैसे संभालना, right? The technology officer will know what kind of a new technology I need in my business. CTO उसके लिए काम करेगा. Human resource officer, chief human resource, what kind of people I want, what kind of culture I want in my company, whether it's a hardworking company or whether it is a slow moved, comfortable company, right? Dividing a business basis function is called functional structure. You're absolutely right. Okay. Now simple. ये simple है what a functional structure is. Okay. I drew there only. I've created a slide to draw here, but I'll create here again for easy consumption. Okay. हम लोग यहीं पे आके समझेंगे, right? So this is, I'll draw. ठीक है. What I'll do is इसी के अंदर we'll start doing. So let's say we have CEO. Okay. Within CEO, we have, let's say, 4 people. Within CEO, we have CFO, right? We have your CTO, technology officer. Then we have your, let's say, CHRO. And we have your COO, right? COO is your operations officer, production wali strategy, right? Production strategy officer, COO, right? Okay. What are the positives and what are the negatives of the functional structure, right? Now, what happens in a functional structure is specialization, right? The moment you create a functional structure, in your company has specialization of labor, right? All the chartered accountants will be under CFO. All the commerce people, all the people associated with financial background, right, will be under reporting to the CFO. So finance wale sare dimag, all the people who work in finance will be always focused on finance of the company. Marketing ke log, all the MBAs in marketing, all the digital marketers, sab log chief marketing officer ke niche honge. Everyone will be focused on marketing only. उनको पैसे से मतलब नहीं होगा, उनको profitability से नहीं होगा, उनको best marketing technique ढूंढने में मेहनत करेंगे वो लोग, right? This is what they will focus on. Specialization of labor हो जाएगी. The moment you create a functional structure, you ensure specialization of labor, you encourage efficiency, because I as a finance folk have to think only about finance. मुझे तो finance से ही मतलब है. So it encourages efficiency, right? By overcoming the growth related constraints. कि more people, company बड़ी हो रही है, तो finance के लोग और डाल दो, marketing के लोग और डाल दो. It's easy to identify and put people in the company. Not like a single simple structure जहाँ पे एक आदमी सब कुछ कर रहा है. Where will I ask them to allocate their time, right? एक मास्टर जी हैं बुटीक में जो लहंगा भी देख रहे हैं और आपका शेरवानी भी देख रहे हैं. The moment my business grows, where will I allocate him, right? Where will I allocate him? Tough हो जाएगा मेरे लिए. But functional structure में I know finance team में finance के लोग डालो, marketing में marketing के लोग डालो. So it becomes easier. If it encourages efficiency in the business, right? Rapid decision making. Rapid decision making क्यों है? Because function wise divide है सब कुछ, right? The decision making is very rapid. CMO, आपका chief marketing officer will go to CFO and boss say कि हमारा ये budget बना है, this is the kind of money we want and this is what the kind of sales we are expecting. So we want an allocation of money. CFO will talk to CMO, they will decide, they will go to CEO. CEO says, okay boss, this looks good, let us go ahead and do it. Rapid decision making. Function wise काम बटा हुआ है, एक function दूसरे से contact करता है and that is how they make quick decisions. That is how they make quick decisions, right? But what is the problem? ये तो अच्छी बात है, ये तो समझ आ गया रे, बड़ा useful structure है. But there is always problem also, right? The shortcoming include differences in functional specialization and orientation. Now the same thing becomes a problem. Marketing wala says, I want 7 crore rupees and I will give you 20 crores ka sales, okay? Now the finance guy says, boss, I have never seen in the last 10 years our company ki sales is only 5 crores. In the last 10 years, the maximum sale I have done in any year is 5 crores. Now you are saying 7 crore de do, hum 20 crore ki sale kar denge. I don't think you have the right numbers. I don't think your assumptions are right. And there the differences in opinion, there the differences start happening, right? Differences is functional specialization. You as a finance folk are very analytical, right? You will start thinking, you will start analyzing the proposals, you will start analyzing the numbers and how that affects my profit and loss account. How does that affect my balance sheet? And you think, boss, ये तो बहुत ही गलत assumption पे numbers लेके आए, right? So what happens? It starts impeding, that means it starts badly affecting communication and coordination. There will be fights between the functions, right? Now let's say आपका like chief marketing, let's say chief operations officer says, I want 20 people in the production unit who already have an experience in making, let's say, cosmetics. हम cosmetics की company है, and I, as the COO, tell the CHRO, I tell the chief human resource officer, boss, we need 20 people who already have an experience in making lipsticks or cosmetics, right? So that I can put them in the factory. So I go and ask this to the CHRO. CHRO says, all right, give me 2 weeks, I'll get you 20 people from the market. The kind of people CHRO finds are not matching with what the CEO wants, right? COO ko kya chahiye? CEO wanted already experienced people. CHRO says the experienced people were very costly, they were expensive. So what I've done is I've taken 10 skilled people and 10 unskilled people. So baki 10 ko you teach them in the next 6 months and they will also learn how to produce. Now the COO thinks I don't have time for 6 months to teach people, right? But CHRO says, but cost to kam hai na. Probably they are cheaper than the skilled labor. That is what my target was. Now there is a difference in specialization, right? CHRO की specialization, ideology, orientation, in specialization and orientation. Orientation means ideology, target. The target of CHRO, ideology of CHRO is different from a COO. Right? COO कह रहा है भाई सारे skilled लोग लाओ. वो कह रहा है कि महंगे हैं, अब 10 skilled ले लो, 10 unskilled ले लो, and teach them. Those 10 people will teach the unskilled people. What is the problem? Now this creates a lot of problems in the organization, right? Decision making rapid to hai, but differences in opinions start coming. That is a shortcoming. How do you overcome that? एक next structure में we will study कि इसको overcome कैसे करें. How do you solve this problem, right? Often leads to myopic perspective. Myopic means chota, narrow. So finance wale is only concerned with apna area. Marketing wale is only concerned with apna area. So this creates a myopic perspective. So CFO is only looking at paisa. Marketing is only like marketing. अरे इधर खोल के पूरा business भी तो देखो कोई, right? And people start looking at the function only and they do not look at the business as a whole. That is when problems start coming in functional structure, right? Losing sight of the company's vision and mission. वो सिर्फ अपने function, people start getting focused in their function so much, they lose sight of what the company wants, what the overall company को देखना भूल जाते हैं. They start focusing on their own function. That is a big problem in functional structure. Okay, cool, super easy. To solve this, एक नया structure आया, which is called divisional structure, right? To solve the problem of functional structure, there was a new structure that was devised. It is called divisional structure. In a divisional structure, functional activities are performed both centrally and in each division separately. Okay, what is this? Okay, so what happens in a divisional structure is the functional activities are performed both centrally and at each division separately. दोनों तरफ ये financial decisions लिए जा रहे हैं. There is a central finance team and there is a division की finance team. There is a central finance team and there is a divisional finance team. Okay, so what happens? Let's look at this. Okay, CEO है और यहाँ पे corporate finance team, that is CFO बैठे. Okay, this is CFO. CEO के नीचे CFO है. Now CFO is looking after all the decisions. Let's say this company has two divisions. Okay, division A है और division B है, right? Division company को दो divisions में बांट दिया. CFO is looking after both the divisions, but each of these divisions have their own functions, right? यहाँ पे function, यहाँ पे एक finance भी लिखेंगे, यहाँ पे we'll have a finance function also, right? यहाँ पे एक finance function भी होगा. So एक division का finance function भी है and the CFO is looking after all the divisions also. I'll explain you in my diagram. और आसान हो जाएगा, right? So ये था हमारा functional structure. That CFO is there, right? Now what happens here is, let's say this company is further divided into two divisions, right? Division number A and division number B. Okay, एक A division है, एक B division है. How do I divide that? Let's say the company divides itself into two segments, right? यहाँ पे हम लोग दो divisions में बना देते हैं. यहाँ पे we'll say kids. I have a kids का business, kids wear, right? बच्चों के कपड़े बनाते हैं. And what we do here is we make clothes for women. Okay. औरतों के और बच्चों के कपड़े बनाती है this company. This company makes clothes for women and this company makes clothes for kids. दो divisions बनाती है. Now each of these divisions have their own finance department, have their own marketing department, have their own product department, procurement department. इनका अपना logistics है, इनका अपना R&D है, right? But what is happening is this finance, इसका भी यहाँ पे B का भी finance भी है, marketing भी है, right? Marketing भी है, production भी है, and so on and so forth, right? यहाँ पे everything follows यहाँ पे नीचे, everything follows यहाँ पे नीचे. Now अभी functional structure में problem क्या है कि यार इससे पूछो उससे पूछो, difference हो रहा है, that हो रहा है, this हो रहा है. So what happens is they divided into divisions. They divided into divisions and they say, boss, अपने business को दो हिस्सों में डाल दो, so that decision making becomes easier, so that people solve their problems within their division. CEO के पास आना ही ना पड़े, right? The CEO के पास आना ही ना पड़े is what the problem is, कि वो यहीं पे problem ends at A division only, problem ends at B division only, जो smaller है. If there is major big problem, then you come to the CEO, then you come to the CFO, right? So there's a question before I move on. How does the company lose the sight and become myopic when it's the job of the CEO to look after its functions? See, CEO is there to support the functions, but you also have CFO, right? Abhi think of this, CFO, CTO, CHRO, CEO. Abhi if CEO starts dominating the CFO, CEO starts dominating the CTO, right? What is the use of having a CEO or of a CFO, right? अगर CEO comes and says कि नहीं यार CFO आप तो गलत बोल रहे हो, मैं भी कह रहा हूँ marketing में खर्चा कर दो, right? The CFO will start thinking that my decisions are not valued in the company. Empowerment नहीं है. You were studying in HR policy, right? The CEO is also concerned about the overall culture. He has to empower his subordinates as well. CFO उसको report कर रहे हैं, so CEO has to empower the CFO. That boss, you have a logic. Let us find a solution around it. Let us not spend 7 crores. Let us spend 2 crores and test कि कितनी sales आती है. Now this is what a CEO would do, right? CEO क्या बोलेंगे 7 crores बेच के let us not aim for 20 crores. CFO has a logic, but I also want to support the marketing guy because he is looking at the growth of the company. What we'll do is let us spend 2 crores and see how much market share can we get, how much more sales can we get, right? That is how a CEO will solve that. And that is why CFO वगैरह तो अपने myopic view में हो जाएंगे, and then CEO will come and solve that. Okay, so that is how CEO is there to look after all of that. But still, it's a problem, right? Fight तो हो गई ना दो functions के बीच में. It's still a problem between the two functions that the CEO has to solve, right? But the CEO says कि यार हर बारी problem. Why should I come and stop all these fights? I'm not concerned. I should not be wasting my time on solving fights between the functions. मेरा काम लड़ाई रोकना नहीं. I'm not the policeman of the company. I'm the CEO of the company. How do I manage? How do I control through an organizational structure कि मेरे पास that all the big problems come to me, smaller problems get solved at the lower level only. Smaller problems get solved at the lower level only. Only big problems come to me so that it saves my time and effort. And that is where divisional structure comes into picture. That is where divisional structure comes into picture, right? So division A will have all the functions. So finance department of kidswear is fighting with R&D department. Let's say the finance department of kidswear is fighting with R&D department. They will go to the head of department of division A, right? Division A के head के पास जाएंगे और बोलेंगे that we have a problem between R&D and finance. Solve our problem. This person, the head of division A, will solve the problem, right? It's his job, it's her job to solve the problem within these people, right? This finance wala guy is reporting to CFO, right? This R&D wala guy is reporting to COO, right? But they're also under division A ka head, right? That is why when I say they perform both centrally and in each division, right? So this CFO has told this CFO ने इस वाले finance वाले को और इस वाले finance वाले को, right? I'll change the colors so that you understand better. So this CFO has told this finance guy and this finance guy in different divisions that boss, you cannot go below 10% profit, right? You cannot go below 10% profit is what finance is told to division A and division B. And these guys sitting within division A and division B are doing their work, taking up decisions so that the profits do not go below 10%, right? And they're reporting this to CFO. But if they have any problem within the division, they go to division A ka head and they say solve our problem. And that is why CEO becomes so big that only big problems, if A is not able to solve any problem, or let's say there is a problem between division A and division B. If there is a problem between division A and B, only then CEO will come into picture, right? Agar within the division any function is having a problem, they will solve themselves. But if there is a problem between division A and division B, then they will go to CEO. The CEO ke paas only big problems are coming. Functional problems nahi aa rahi. CEO is now not looking at functional problems. He is only looking at the overall business problem, right? कि division A और division B के बीच में problem आ गई. Let me look at a business perspective. Functional level पे they are managing themselves. He is automating the business. Better control through divisional structure. Better control through divisional structure, right? Okay. What is a corporate legal or PR? Shakti, so corporate legal is your lawyers in the company, right? Contracts ho rahe hain, you're getting into different litigations, you need a lot of lawyers for documentation, for contracts, and PR is your public relations, right? So PR is also kind of within legal only, so that a limited company has shareholders, you have to send notices. Your CS, right? Majorly legal and PR, you will see a lot of lawyers and your company secretaries, right? Your CS, the people who do CS, they work in corporate and PR in a company, right? They work in the legal department of the company. Ki shareholders ko kaun si, what are the different documents that we need from the shareholders, we need to send to the shareholders, minutes of meeting hone chahiye, this compliance with the Companies Act, MCA se ye wali compliance karni hai, so then income tax department se ye compliance karni hai, auditors ke sath we have to get so much compliances, right? Your independence of auditor उनको जाके prove करना होता है. All this work is done by your corporate legal and PR department, right? Cool. So this is what a divisional structure is. That CEO says, boss, मेरे को कचरे में नहीं पड़ना है. You maintain, you decide, take decisions, solve problems at your division level. If you have very big problem, then only come to me, right? So he divides or she divides the company into different divisions. For example, हमने लिया kids division and women division. Now divisions can also be divided on different areas, right? Now this is what it says. Now a division can be divided into different ways. Abhi jaise I took kids and women wear, right? For example, I just took kids and women wear. That was based on product, right? Now you can also make divisions based on geography, right? So एक business ने अपने division A और B बनाया. This A and B can be India and US, right? India का business और यहाँ पे इसने बोल दिया US का business. This is India business and this is US business. तो दो division बन गए. It can either be based on customer, right? It can either be customer. So I'd say these are teenagers. I say these are teenagers. My teenagers को I'm giving some service, and this is my old people, right? People 60 plus. This is 18 to 20. 16 to 18. This is 16 to 18, and this is 60 plus. I divide my divisions into two. I divide my divisions based on the customer, right? Customer की age क्या है? Customer की gender क्या है? I can also do it on the customer का gender also. This is males, this is females, right? किसी भी basis पे, based on customer, based on process also I can do. Based in process also I can do. For example, I have two processes, right? I have manufacturing and I have assembly, right? I have manufacturing and I have assembly. So एक तो I divide my business into manufacturing and other I do assembly. So I manufacture tires. Let us say I manufacture tires, that is my manufacturing division, and I also assemble AC, right? आपका air conditioner of the car, वो भी मैं assemble करके एक AC बना देता हूँ, right? So I have two divisions based on my process. I do manufacturing and I do assembly, or based on geography, based on product, based on customer. So there are 4 ways you can divide a division, right? Broadly, यहाँ पे XYZ बहुत तरीके होते हैं. Companies make divisions based on anything that suits them. Why? Let us go back to the basics. Idea तो वही है, better control. Now the company has to decide how it can better control its operations, how can it better control its business. उस basis पे वो division बना लेती है, right? How the CEO, how the CXO, how the CFO wants to control the business, that decides the division. But 4 major common ways, 4 common organizational divisional structures are based on. These are common ones: are geographic area, product or service, customer, and process. Generally, आपको इसी में दिखेगा. They can be XYZ. Basic idea is getting more control, right? Awesome. What are the positives? What are the negatives? Positives clearly देख लेते हैं. Clear accountability, right? For achieving targets of each functional manager. Now, clear accountability है. If I tell you this finance वाला, I'll change color again. थोड़ा गंदा हो गया, but no worries. Let me see if I can erase. बढ़िया, cool. Let me just erase this. Perfect. So let us say. So this finance wala guy, so this finance folk, right? This finance wala person knows that I'm working for division A. This finance person knows that I'm working for division A, and I'm concerned with division A ka finance only. Even though I'm reporting to the CFO of the company, I'm only concerned with division A ke finances. This person of finance knows that even if I'm reporting to CFO of the company, I'm only concerned with division B ka finances. If CFO comes and asks me any question, I'm only concerned with division B ke finances. Division A mein kya ho raha hai? I don't know, and I'm not concerned with that, right? I have a very clear accountability, right? I have a very clear accountability, right? That is what it is. Clear accountability. मुझे पता है मुझे किस division के लिए काम करना है, right? It is well defined. Okay. So now what is assembly business? Assembly means इकट्ठा करना, right? जोड़ तोड़ का business. यहाँ से ये खरीदा, वहाँ से वो खरीदा, जोड़ के एक product बना दिया. That is assembly business. Okay. Second is motivating employees, right? motivating career development opportunities. Now what happens? Divisional structure mein, there is a benefit. Now there is a benefit. Now suppose this particular finance wala is wanting something new, and this finance wala is bored of division A. He says, यार मुझे division B में काम करते हुए 5 साल हो गए. It's been 5 years I'm working in division B. I'm getting bored here. What will they do? They have an opportunity to go to division A. They'll say, okay, no worry. You go and now you work in division A. Abhi division A is kids segment. So everything becomes new for him and her, right? So more career development opportunities. Abhi let us suppose A, abhi to do department. What if there is C department? There is D department. A वाला 2 साल बाद C में जा रहा है, C वाला B में जा रहा है, B वाला D में जा रहा है, D वाला A में आ रहा है. So a lot of movement of people within divisions, it helps people to feel new in the organization. It gives them more career opportunities, more career development opportunities, right? अभी हम kids segment देखते हैं, अभी women segment देखते हैं, मैं men segment देख रहा हूँ, मैं I'm looking at this segment, I'm looking at that business, I'm looking at India business, I'm looking at US business now. So different career development opportunities also people get, right? It is better at controlling operations for sure. Control करना बहुत आसान हो जाता है. It leads to competitive climate. This is very good positive advantage is it leads to a competitive climate. Division A और Division B में हमेशा competition रहेगा कौन better कर रहा है, right? So Division A says that we made 11% profit. Division B says we only made 3% profit. Boys, we have to buck up. Guys, we have to buck up. अभी और अच्छा business करना है. Business के अंदर ही competition create हो जाएगा, and because of that, the company grows as a whole, right? So Division A will always want to lead. Division B will always want to come and meet the level of Division A, right? So competition रहेगा, and with that, the company also grows, right? So there is always a competitive climate, which is a positive thing. Ease in entering into a new business, right? And now, if a company wants to enter into a new business, बस एक नया division खोल दो, right? If a company wants to enter into a new business, उसको कुछ नहीं करना. Existing business वैसा का वैसा रहेगा. They just have to open a new division, right? Easy हो गया ना control करना. That is why it is easy for them to control. CEO को और कुछ नहीं करना. उसको एक नया division खोलना, and they have to put people in that division. Each division will have their own functions. They will hire people there. And it becomes easier to get into more businesses, right? ऐसे ही तो बड़े होते हैं. That is how you grow. The more you grow, the complex the organization structure becomes, and because you have to control a lot of things, right? What are the shortcomings? Duplication of staff services. Shortcoming भी है. अभी Division A का finance वाला और Division B का finance वाला, Division C का finance वाला, everyone is doing the same job. Everyone is doing the same work, right? So there is duplication of staff duty. अभी वो division A के head को भी बताएगा. Look at this. Look at this. I'll clear this again. Think of this. Think from a perspective of an employee. Now, for a second, think from a perspective of an employee. What is happening? What is he or she feeling now? Okay. Where is my eraser? Cool. Now, this person, this finance wala is going to report to CFO. He's also going to report to the Division A ka head. Now, finance head of Division B, she is going to report to Division B की head. She is also going to report to CFO. अभी एक ही आदमी 2 लोगों को report करता है. Like they are giving their decisions. 2 people are asking questions to you at any given point in time. Division A head is asking you questions. Division B head is asking you questions, and the CFO is also asking you questions, right? For let's say for an HR department, HR head in Division A, she is also reporting to Division A head. She is also reporting to the CHRO. Abhi HR department in ka is reporting to Division B. She is also reporting to CHRO. Now division, abhi this is creating a problem for employee. Duplication हो रही है. एक ही बात 2 लोगों को बार-बार बतानी पड़ती है, right? That is a shortcoming. That is a short. Though it helps in controlling better, but वो लोगों का काम तो बढ़ जाता है. Right? Delegation of authority forces expensive, well-qualified managers. अभी Division A का head चाहिए. We need a Division B का head. We need a Division C head. So it creates a lot of challenge to get talented, skilled managers. Right? अभी CEO wants mini CEOs for each division. CEO wants mini CEOs for each division. So it's expensive. This structure is really expensive because the person who is going to head the Division A or division B, they're going to charge a lot of salary because they are going to manage a business in itself, all the functions, right? अभी डिवीजन ए के हेड को भी सैलरी दो, सीएफओ को भी सैलरी दो, सीएचआरओ को भी सैलरी दो, हर डिवीजन के फंक्शनल हेड को भी सैलरी दो, डिवीजन के हेड को भी सैलरी दो, उसके नीचे वी हैव मोर पीपल वर्किंग इन ईच ऑफ दीज डिपार्टमेंट्स, ईच ऑफ दीज फंक्शंस विद इन डिविजन्स, उनको सैलरी दो. इतने ज्यादा लोग आर इन द कंपनी, सो योर पीपल कॉस्ट, the cost of employees is very huge in this structure. That is a shortcoming, right? इतने सारे लोग आपने ले लिए तो उनको सैलरी भी तो देनी पड़ेगी. You will have to give them benefits, you will have to give them insurance, you have to give them gratuity, you have to give them this and that, trips, free coupons, everything you have to give them, and that becomes really costly for a business. That is a costly thing for a business, right? It requires a dedicated headquarter driven control system. अभी डिवीजन वगैरह सब कुछ क्या कर रहे हैं, अभी ये सारे बैठ के सीईओ को भी रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. ऑल ऑफ देम आर रिपोर्टिंग टू सीईओ. अभी सीएफओ, सीटीओ, सीएचआरओ, सीईओ, ये सब भी जाके सीईओ को रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, राइट? सो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर रिपोर्टिंग टू द सीईओ. इट रिक्वायर्स अ डेडिकेटेड हेड ऑफिस. एक हेड ऑफिस चाहिए दैट इज कंट्रोलिंग एवरीथिंग. CEO needs a well-defined place, a well-defined system to control all these people. That is a shortcoming. It really becomes difficult when there are a lot of divisions, right? Difficult to maintain consistency. Difficult to maintain consistency in a company-wide practice. Now think about this. I'll give you a classic example, okay? I'll give you a classic example, real life example I'll give you. What happens? I'll just remove all of this and then you'll understand the problem kya thi, right? Let me just clear this off. Cool. So be clear kar deta. Chaki mera. Okay, so now think about this. The problem we are looking at is difficult to maintain consistency, right? Difficult to maintain consistency is division A and B, and let's say there is also division C. Division A is 70% of the company ka business comes from division A, right? 25% of the business of the company comes from division B, and only 5% of the business comes from division C. Okay, each of these divisions is bringing different percentage of business. 70% धंधा kids से आता है, 25% धंधा women से आता है, and only 5% business comes from division C. Now the CEO will say, I am more concerned about this division. इस division की performance कैसी है मुझे constantly जानना है. I want to know constantly every single day how is this kids division of my company doing, because 70% business वहां से आ रहा है. While I am less concerned about women because only 25% आ रहा है, but C division तो I can ignore. मेरे को 6 महीने में एक बार ही बताना, right? Tell me after 6 months how is this C division working? Profit बन रहा है? How is it growing? How much is it growing? Only 5% business इससे आ रहा है, so I'm not very concerned. मेरे को daily basis नहीं, I want to know. Tell me after 6 months what is happening in division C, right? It creates difficulty. It's difficult to maintain the consistency in company-wide practices, right? So what will happen is the kind of the pressure, the opportunities that division A is getting, people in division C might not be getting, right? Division C, the finance department might not be so visible to the CFO or the CEO as much as division A ke people will be. So it creates inconsistencies in the business, right? It creates a lot of inconsistencies in the business. That people start thinking, ki, boss, hamara to department people are not even concerned about. Why should we work itna sara? Why should I put in efforts for my work? Because people are not concerned about my division, about my department, right? That creates a challenge there. That is one big challenge in division structure. Division head would be called as CEO of the division. Yes, Jamil, you can call them by any name. You can call them by president, vice president, director, associate director, kuch bhi naam. Designation you can give any, but ideally they function like a CFO of the division. Ideally they function like a CFO, but designation kuch bhi ho sakta hai. They can be called vice president, they can be called president of division A, they can be called vice president of division A, they can be called director, they can be called anything. CEO bhi bula sakta hai. They can also be called CEO of India business, CEO of America business, right? They can be called anything, but ideally काम CEO जैसा ही है. Right. Now, quickly, let us come to a multi-divisional structure, right, which is called M-form. M-form business, right? Now, अभी divisional structure हमको समझ आता है. Divisional structure का भी पिताजी, the head of divisional structure से भी complex and बड़ा. When your company becomes so big, that turning them into divisions is very different. So what do you do, right? What do you do? अभी division से काम नहीं चल रहा. So what do? You divide each division into a separate business, right? M-form structure developed in 1920s is composed of operating divisions where each division represents a separate business to which the top corporate officer delegates responsibilities for day-to-day operations and business unit strategy to division managers. Okay. Abhi, what does multi-divisional structure mean? What does multi-divisional structure mean? Classic example is Tata Sons. Okay. The classic example is Tata Sons. This is very interesting. I'll explain it to you. M-form, multi-divisional. इसी में multi-divisional कैसे होता है? Right? Let us quickly understand multi-divisional क्या होता है. बहुत मजा आएगा आपको. Let us take an example of Tata Sons. Okay, I'm taking an example of Tata Sons here. Right? Tata Sons करके there is you have studied in foundation, right? Foundation में in chapter 3 we have studied Tata Sons Private Limited, right? You remember? So Tata Sons is the head company. It's the corporate head of all the other businesses of Tata. It is the corporate head of all the different businesses of Tata. Tata Sons के नीचे you have all the companies. Okay, let's say I'm just taking a few examples now. TCS हो गई, right? Your TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, Tata Consumer Services, your Tata Consumer Goods, right? Tata Consumer Goods आ गई, Tanishq आ गई, right? There is a company called Tanishq. Then Air India is also now under Tata Sons. Air India आ गई, right? Air India is now also under Tata Sons. Okay. Now what else? What are other Tata की और companies है? Tata Steel, ठीक है? Tata Steel is also here. Tata Steel भी इसके नीचे है. And then we also have Tata Motors. Tata Motors भी एक अलग business है, but everyone is reporting to Tata Sons. Okay. What is happening? Tata Motors है ये, ठीक है? Tata Motors. Now what is happening? Look at this. For us as consumers, हमें तो लगता है TCS अलग company है, Tata Consumer is a different company, Air India is a different company, Tata Steel is a different company, Tata Motors is a different company, right? They are all separate companies, but they all report to Tata Sons. TCS पैसा कमा के Tata Sons को दे देते. Tata Consumer Goods पैसा कमा के Tata Sons को दे देते. They earn money, they send back all their profits to Tata Sons, right? Then your Tanishq sends all money to Tata Sons. Air India will send all money to Tata Sons. Tata Steel sends to Tata Sons. Tata Motors sends to Tata Sons. Now Tata Sons is taking decisions for all the businesses at a head level, right? At the topmost level, Tata Sons is taking all the decisions, right? Tata Sons is taking all the decisions at the top level, okay? So what is happening now? Tata Consultancy Service, right? Tata Consultancy Service, Tata Salts come in Tata Consumer Good. Tata Salt यहाँ पे आ जाएगा, right? So now look at this again. Very carefully let us understand. अभी TCS देखो क्या है. TCS के नीचे एक CEO है. We have a CEO of TCS, right? Who has CFO. Let's say who has CFO, right? Then they have Chief Technology Officer. Then they have Chief आपका Human Resource Officer, HR Officer है, right? And they also have, let's say, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, ठीक है? Chief Human Resource Officer, TCS के नीचे. And they have 3 divisions. Let's say they have India business, they have America business, and they have Europe business, right? Let us think they have divided their business into three divisions, right? India business, America business, and Europe business, right? India business में finance team है, marketing team है, technology team है. अमेरिका में finance team है, marketing team है, technology team है. Finance team है, marketing team है, and technology team, right? Now, see what is happening in such a big company. This is called multi-divisional. It is called multi-divisional. Tata Communications is also there. I'm just giving example. Tata has a lot of businesses, right? ऐसे जाएंगे तो sheet खत्म हो जाएगी, right? So what is happening now? Now let us understand हो क्या रहा है. This finance guy is reporting to India business head and is reporting to the CFO. This CFO is reporting to the CEO. This CEO is reporting to the CEO of Tata Sons. Okay. Now this is multi-divisional. Why is this multi-divisional? Let us understand this. Why? Abhi similarly, this entire chart, ये जो आप chart देख लें, this is happening in all of these companies. अभी Tata Consumer Goods का CEO है, CFO है, then they have different divisions. Tata Consumer में Tata Salt है, Tata Tea है, Tata this है, Tata that. अब वो अलग-अलग divisions होंगे product basis पे. TCS ने अपना business has divided into geography. Tata Consumer has divided its business into product. Air India will divide its business into international and domestic flights. Tanishq is dividing into gold, silver, diamond, platinum. Tata Steel is dividing into your industry versus domestic, international versus domestic. Tata Motors is dividing into smaller cars, SUVs, luxury cars. Tata Motors में Land Rover, Jaguar, right? So all of these companies have a different divisional structure. They have a different divisional structure, but inherently they all are also division of Tata Sons, right? Basically देखा जाए तो all these are also like divisions of Tata Sons, right? Which are reporting to Tata Sons like a CEO, right? जैसे division A है वैसे उसके लिए TCS है, जैसे division B है उसके लिए Tata Consumers है, Tata Sons के लिए, right? Ideally तो ये सब भी आपके divisions ही हैं Tata Sons के, but they're separate businesses. But they are now functioning, they have become so big that they're now functioning as separate business. And each of these business further has their own divisions. India, America, Europe. They further have their own divisions, right? They further have their own divisions. And that is why this particular thing, this particular structure is called multi-divisional, right? It is called multi-divisional. राइट मल्टी डिविजनल इसीलिए इसको बोलते हैं क्योंकि इट हैज मल्टीपल डिविजन्स. एक तो ये लेवल ऑफ डिविजन्स है और एक ये लेवल ऑफ डिविजन्स है इन ईच ऑफ द कंपनीज, राइट? दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड अ मल्टी डिविजनल स्ट्रक्चर. दैट इज व्हाट वी मीन व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट मल्टी डिविजनल structure. The corporate office is responsible for formulating and implementing overall corporate strategy and manages divisions through strategic and financial controls. Tata Sons is going to take major decisions for all the companies, while all the companies function in their own capacity as well. Okay? Right. Now, implementation. How do you create something as big as a multi-divisional structure? How do you create something as big as a multi-divisional structure, right? Number one, पहले तो separate divisions, each representing a distinct business. Multi-divisional structure के लिए it should be a different business. Divisional structure में the business was same, kids clothing, women clothing, right? जब हम divisional structure पढ़ रहे थे, the divisions were created based on product, based on process, based on geography, based on this, based on that. 4 ways of dividing a company into divisions we studied. But business तो एक ही था. कपड़े का बिजनेस होगा, जूते का बिजनेस होगा, लेदर का बिजनेस होगा, खाने का बिजनेस होगा, राइट? एंड देन वी हैव डिवीजन की वी हैव टू मेक फास्ट फूड एंड वी आल्सो हैव रेस्टोरेंट्स, वी हैव दाल मखनी, दाल, वी हैव रोटी, वी हैव नान. बिजनेस सेम ही है, डिवीजन अलग अलग हो गया. बट मल्टी डिविजनल, व्हेन आई टॉक अबाउट मल्टी डिविजनल, द बिजनेसेस शुड बी डिस्टिंक्ट, दे शुड बी डिफरेंट. बिजनेसेस डिफरेंट होने चाहिए, ओनली देन यू कैन गो इनटू मल्टी डिविजनल, राइट? All TCS employees do not use Tata Motor, Tata Salt, Tata Tea. That is their problem, Rakesh. They should or they should not. That is their preference. That's a good observation though, right? So multi-divisional happens only when there are distinct businesses. Each of these businesses is distinct, and then it is called multi-divisional, right? Each division would house its own functional hierarchy. That means her division, because it is a distinct business, will have their own CEO, CFO, CTO, CHRO, CXO. उनके अपने सब लोग होंगे, right? Division managers would be given responsibility for managing day-to-day operations. So the head of TCS is managing everything related to TCS. The head of TCS is managing everything related to TCS, right? A small corporate office, like for Tata Sons, it's in Mumbai, right? That would determine the long-term strategic direction. The head office. Abhi, this Tata Sons is only taking long-term decisions. It is only taking long-term decisions. Short-term decisions ये आपस में अपने आप ले लेंगे. अपने अपने business के लिए short-term decisions they will take themselves. Tata Sons will only take long-term decisions. They will only take long-term. आज से 5 साल के बाद के, आज से 3 साल को affect करने वाले, आज से 10 साल को affect करने वाले. So the corporate office will always take long-term strategic decisions. For overall control, they will always take long-term decisions, right? Short-term लेने जाएंगे तो इतना time है ही नहीं. They do not have so much time to take short-term decisions. Short-term decisions businesses अपने आप ले लेंगे. Long-term decisions is what the corporate office will take for each of the business. For each of the business separately, they will take a long-term decision, right? Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Or we go to the SBU structure. इसके बाद, it's a very beautiful concept called SBU structure, right? It's called SBU structure. It's called SBU structure. Any questions so far in multi-divisional, divisional, functional, simple? कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है, you're still confused. I think my examples are making sense. I think my examples should be helping. You might be making some notes or something, right? वरना PPT तो मैं डाल ही दूंगा. But these drawings will not be in the PPT. You will have to draw these yourself. Once I upload the PPT, ये drawing चली जाती है, right? So I hope you're taking notes. You should always take notes. All clear, Shakti. Wonderful, yeah, wonderful. Got it, Sandeep. Cool. What about others? Are you still with us, or have you ran away, or you running away to get your breakfast? It's 9 o'clock. कोई बात नहीं, just bear me for the next 25 minutes. I will pakao you for the next 25 minutes, and then you can go and enjoy your Saturday. सिर्फ 25 minutes और हम आपको पकाएंगे. उसके बाद you can go and do whatever you want to do, and we'll see you tomorrow then. कल भी class है. Sunday is also a class. Sunday class का मजा ही अलग है. सुबह 7 बजे उठना पड़ेगा आपको. Awesome. I have a question. Thanks, Jamil. But why small corporate office? I mean, small किस लिए? That should be a corporate office. See, Charu, why we called it small is because they only have to take long-term. They're only taking long-term decisions for each of the business. Small means there are only very few people in the corporate office here, right? There will be like for a company like Tata, if you look at the board members of Tata Sons, you will see there are just few people, like 12, 13 people, or maybe like 17, 18 people taking long-term decisions for all the businesses. So it's a small group of people. It's a small group of high-end professionals. It's a small group of super intelligent, super smart people, right? Who take long-term decisions for each of the companies. इसलिए we use the word small. It's not like a very big, it's not like 100 people team in the corporate office. It's a small 15, 20 people team taking decisions for all the businesses, right? In short, multi-division structure is divisions inside a division. Absolutely right. Inception की तरह है, Shraddha. If you have watched that movie Inception, dream के अंदर dream होता है, वैसे मल्टी डिविजनल इज डिवीजन के अंदर डिविजन, राइट? मल्टी डिविजनल. Great for all those who are clear. Ready for SPU? Examples and chart helped. Awesome. That's really good if you're drawing with me. That would really help you understand, right? Drawbacks of M form are same as divisional. Yeah. So what you can use for divisional, they are the same for M form also. Multi-divisional का भी short, आपका problem वही रहेगी. It's just that you're putting another division under division, तो double problem आ जाएगी, right? The problems with divisional structure, what we discussed, they will double up in your M structure, right? But उससे control बहुत better हो जाता है. The idea is to not look at the problems. The idea is कि control कैसे आप अच्छा कर सकते हो, right? For a company so big as Tata, this format is what they developed. M form structure is what they developed. उनको लगा हम SBU structure से अच्छा और division structure से अच्छा we can do better control through multi-division structure. So a company has to decide to what structure it wants and how it can better control. It really depends on you. Like if you think you can only control by doing everything yourself, you will do a simple structure. If you love like giving out work to someone else to do your job, that is called like division structure or a functional structure, right? I give you an example. Most of our fathers do a simple structure. Most of our mothers do a functional structure. Like your father will always do everything themselves. Your mother will delegate everything. Kamra saaf karo, jaake chhat saaf karo, right? All of this is functional. They're delegating job, and your father will do everything themselves, right? So that really depends how you want to control. Your mom wants to control her work by giving out work to you. Kamra saaf kar, jaake ye kar, get this, market jaake ye leke aa. She's delegating. That's functional structure, right? Cool. Okay, you're having doubts on chapter 6. Chapter 6, Chaitanya, what we'll do is, next session, what I'm planning is, in the next session, we'll complete chapter 7 and we'll dedicate 1 full hour for tough questions and doubts. Any doubts from chapter 1 to 7, koi bhi doubts honge, we'll do that, right? If you want me to refer study material, I'll do that as well. I'll open on my separate laptop, I'll open the study material. If you want any doubt from the study material, we'll solve that. We'll do tough exam-oriented questions. We'll understand question ko padhte kaise hain. I'm also thinking of putting in some questions and we'll understand question ko padhte kaise hain. We'll do that, right? And I also take up those questions there as well. So I think that will really, really help us all for examination, right? Great. I know those examples you're going to remember my examples in your examinations, right? That is what my idea is. You should be sitting in your examination and boss, ये आदमी क्या example दे के गया था मैं. You'll remember that. All right, let us move on to the next structure, which is called SBU. SBU का मतलब is Strategic Business Unit. Okay, Strategic Business Unit. Strategic Business Unit is called SBU. SBU structure. Abhi, how is SBU structure different from a divisional structure? The problem when I was studying this at my time, right? When I was studying this or preparing this, I was really confused. Yeah, the divisional structure, how is it different from SBU structure, right? I went on to the internet. I studied a lot of things on the internet. I watched a lot of videos to understand, yeah, how do I explain that a divisional structure is different from an SBU structure, right? And one key thing that I understood was SBU structure mein this word strategic, right? This strategic is the keyword, right? This strategic is the keyword, and yahan pe kya ho raha hai? You are grouping related businesses together, right? SBU में क्या होता है? The key in SBU is simple. How do you identify an SBU versus a divisional structure is, in SBU, grouping of related businesses, right? Grouping of related businesses you do together. Related businesses ko you group together and that creates an SBU structure. Right? It is amendable to composite planning treatment. Okay? It is amendable to composite planning treatment. That means what will happen is आप सिमिलर आपके बिजनेस सेगमेंट्स को, यू हैव डिफरेंट बिजनेस सेगमेंट्स, आप उनको ग्रुप करके एक कर देते हो, राइट? एंड देन यू फॉर्म स्ट्रेटजीज अराउंड इट, How does that happen? I'll फिर से draw. Don't worry, I'll draw and explain it to you. The purpose is to provide effective strategic planning, treatment, accurate monitoring, and simplifying control. Right? Control को simplify कर देंगे, accurately monitor करेंगे, effective strategic planning करेंगे, and treatment करेंगे. Right? The purpose is to provide effective strategic planning and treatment. Okay. Now, I'll give you an example. ठीक है? Let us understand from an example of SBU क्या होता है. Let us go to that drawing वाला place. अभी let us start to understand कि what is this divisional structure. Okay? I will take example of Hindustan Unilever Limited. Okay? Hindustan Unilever Limited. HUL का example. अभी HUL is a company that has a lot of big brands. Right? It has a lot of brands. अभी HUL के brands का कुछ example. Give me some example of HUL के brands. Okay. Tell me some examples of HUL के brands. What are HUL के brands? Okay. Let us see who knows HUL के brands. Let us see. Give me some examples of HUL के brands. HUL कौन से चीजें बनाता है? What are the different brands of Hindustan Unilever? Quickly, give me the names. Very quickly, give me the names. Hindustan Unilever के brands के नाम दो. Lux. Okay, I have first. We call it Lux. ठीक है? Lux आ गया. What else? Very quickly. Lux आ गया. What else? जल्दी टाइप कीजिए. I am not watching a lot of people answering. Why? Quickly. I see Lux. Okay, Peers, Dove, Clinic Plus, Lifebuoy. Okay, we have Lux, we have Peers, right? Peers साबुन है, Lifebuoy है, Lifebuoy का तो spelling is also very confusing. B-U-O-Y, right? B-U-O-Y. I think that's Lifebuoy, right? I don't know, it's O-U-Y or U-O-Y. Okay, Surf Excel. Okay, we have Surf Excel also. What else? कुछ खाने पीने का बताओ. HUL also has something to eat. So Surf Excel आ गया. What else? Lux हो गया, Dove हो गया, Pantene हो गया. Okay, we have Dove also. Dove भी है, right? What else? Surf Excel हो गया. Peers have done. Tell me more. Quickly. Sunsilk, Santur, Lifebuoy, Dove, Nor, Horlicks, Boost. अच्छा, now Nor आ गया. Nor के soups आते हैं. Nor soups is from HUL, right? Nor आ गया. Then you're saying Horlicks है, right? Horlicks आ गया. Horlicks है. Why is this pen not working? Nobody's. Okay. What else? Boost है. Okay. Boost is the power of my energy. Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar. Boost, right? Give me 3-4 names. Cornetto, Kisan आ गया. Okay. किसान केचप, किसान की केचप आती, किसान जैम आती है. That is HUL. Kisan is there. What else? I see Quality Walls is there. Okay. Vaseline is there. Cornetto is there. Good. Brew is also there. Brew की कॉफी आती है, right? Brew की कॉफी आती है. That is also there. Clinic Plus is there, right? Cool. I think we will understand from this. But मैं एक और लिख देता तो Surf Excel भी इनका है. And there is Rin, right? You know there is a washing powder called Rin. Rin is also from Hindustan Unilever. Okay. Now, focus back on the chart. Okay, Now, HUL is a company which has all these brands, all these businesses. Each of these business is a separate business in itself, right? Business in terms of अपने आप में एक इतना बड़ा ब्रांड है, राइट? अपने आप में एक इतना बड़ा ब्रांड है. Each of these businesses a big booming business. लक्स की अपनी मार्केट है, पीएस की अपनी मार्केट है, लाइफबॉय की अपनी मार्केट है, डव की अपनी मार्केट है. सर्फ एक्सेल एंड रिन हैव देयर ओन वॉशिंग पाउडर सेगमेंट. नॉर, हॉर्लिक्स, बूस्ट, किसान, ब्रू खाने पीने का सामान है, इंस्टेंट खाने पीने का सामान है. ऑल दिस इज इंस्टेंट like ready-made mix products, right? It has a different market, right? Now I can think about this from a business perspective. What I can do is I can club all these into one business. I can club all this into one business unit. I can club all of this into one business unit, right? इसको क्या बोलेंगे? हम इसको बोलेंगे, let's say आपका soaps and let's say soaps and shampoos. I'm just giving a name, okay? Let's say we call it soaps and shampoos business division. This is called washing powder business division, and this is called let's say ready-made food RF business division. It's called a ready-made food business division. Okay. What I do is yes, Lipton is also there, Quality Walls, and Lifebuoy. Again, I have right Red Label. Red Label. Okay, so Red Label is a tea, right? Cool. So HUL has different brands, and they can be clubbed together. They can be clubbed together into a single business unit because they're related to each other, right? Because they're related to each other. Now think about this. Think about this. Lux, Pears, Lifebuoy, and Dove, these are soaps, right? These are all soaps. So the strategy, the marketing strategy, the finance strategy, think about all the functional strategies. Think about all the business strategies, right? Think about all the corporate strategy. तीनों level of strategies के बारे में सोचो. Think about all the three level of strategies: corporate, business, and functional. They will be some way or the similar for each of these businesses, right? मुझे लक्स की मार्केटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी, पीएस की मार्केटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी और डिजाइनिंग, पैकेजिंग, प्रोडक्शन लगभग रिलेटेड है. It's almost the same. If not the same, it's almost the same, right? Lux के soaps, Lifebuoy का soap. Even if the packaging is different, even if the flavors are different, even if the pricing is different, even if the pricing is somewhat to similar है तो साबुन, right? At the end of the day, it is a soap business, right? Even if the strategy is different for each of those, it is still a soap. It is still a washing powder. It is still a ready-made food item, right? It is ready-made food item, right? So I can strategically club them together into a strategic business unit. So HUL ने क्या किया? HUL ने क्या किया? It divided its business. It divided its business into different SBUs: soap business, washing powder business, and ready-made food item business. What happens here is, as soaps or washing powder में, now each of these is a separate business unit. Each of these is a separate business unit. Now each of these separate business units, what happens is, इसका अपना एक CEO होगा, right? Soaps business has a head, washing powder has a head, and we don't call them CEO, they're called SBU head. Otherwise you'll get confused. I'll just remove, oh shit. Let me see if I can bring that back. Can I bring that back? I don't know if I can bring that back. Can I? Let me try. No, I cannot. It's not working. It's not working. Let me just quickly see. Give me 1 second. Can I bring that back? No, I don't think so. No worries. Let us draw that again quickly to understand what we're doing. Some issue with PPT. Chalo, go in. So what is happening here is very simple. It's very simple. Abhi each of these we understand what an SBU is, right? So let's say SBU1 hai, SBU1 and SBU2 and SBU3. Okay, SBU1, SBU2, and we have SBU3 and we have SBU3. Okay. Now each of these SBUs has a head. They have a head, right? SBU head 1, SBU2 ka head, SBU3 ka head. And each of these, now Control Z is not working in this PPT. I don't know why, Kushi. Control Z is not working. वो undo हो नहीं रहा. No problem. I'll check that. But understand this concept. SBU1, SBU2, SBU3. Each of these has a head. Okay. Each of these has a head, and each of them has a finance department. HR department, marketing department, production department, procurement department, logistics department, सारे functions होते हैं. Each SBU also has their own functions, right? That is why it is different from divisional structure. Divisional structure से it is, why is it different? It is similar to a divisional structure, but SBU में similar businesses are clubbed together. जैसे soaps इकट्ठे कर दिए, washing powder इकट्ठा कर दिया, ready-made food एक साथ club करके we created one SBU. Instead of creating multiple divisions, अगर मान लीजिए if I have written like 10 brands here, I would have 10 divisions. Lifebuoy division, Lux division, PS division, washing powder, then I say Surf Excel division, Rin division. I could have done that. Right? That is also possible. All these 10, 15 brands, I create a different division. Or what I do, I just create 3 separate business units and club similar businesses together for better control. I club similar businesses together and create them into one strategic business unit for better control, right? That is better way of controlling. Instead of having 20 divisions, I create 3 strategic business units. Instead of creating 20 divisions, I club related businesses. I create related businesses. I create related grouping of related businesses together to form an SBU, right? And that is how it is different from a divisional structure. And that is how it is different from a divisional structure, that you club together, you group related businesses together to form a one SBU, which functions as a division, right? But 3-4 businesses को अपने club करके एक strategic business unit बना दिया, which has its own functions like any division. And like any division, they have their head. So soaps ka SBU head, washing powder SBU head, and ready-made food SBU head. And finance department of ready-made food, finance department of washing powder, finance department of your soaps. All of those reporting to the CFO. All of those reporting to the CFO of HUL, and CEO of HUL reporting to the CEO of HUL, right? CHRO of HUL को report करेंगे all the strategic business units के heads of HR. They will report to the CHRO, and CHRO will report to the CEO, right? They work as a division only, but how is it different? They club related businesses together to form a strategic business unit. Okay, look, this is how a SBU looks. A CEO on the top, group head of SBU 1, group head of SBU 2, group head of SBU 3, and within them we have division A, division B, C. We have used the word division, but you can also do functions, right? Division here means function. यहाँ पे it means finance function, this function, that function. Or you can also do when the company becomes और बड़ी हो जाती है, right? If the company is like HUL or bigger than HUL, like Unilever global level. Abhi HUL is also the Indian company of Unilever global. Abhi aap samjhe how big HUL is. So we talked about HUL having so many brands, so many SBUs, and HUL is only the Indian company of Unilever. Unilever is the parent company. Hindustan Unilever uska Indian company. Then there is Unilever USA, Unilever Pakistan, Unilever Nepal, Unilever Indonesia, Unilever Europe, Unilever UK, Unilever this, Unilever that, Unilever Africa. Abhi usme HUL hai, and HUL has all such SBUs. So think how big a company it is, how big an organization structure can go, right? That is how an organizational structure, how you control your operations, how you control your company is what an organizational structure aims at. Okay. Now, let us quickly understand the characteristics, and this is the last topic for today. It's already 9:25 is what I see, right? So let us quickly understand the characteristics of SBU, and then we'll wrap up today's session. Okay. So each SBU is a single business or a collection of related businesses, right? It functions as a standalone from the rest of the organization. That is why it is called a strategic business unit, right? Strategic word use हो रहा है because it has a separate strategy altogether. Abhi, your soap strategic business unit might be using growth strategy, washing powder might be using stability strategy, your fast food or your ready-made food might be using retrenchment strategy or a combination strategy, right? अलग ही strategy use कर सकते हैं. Division में that is not possible. Division में overall company की strategy is given to the divisions, but SBU में each SBU can have their own standalone strategy. Each SBU can have their own standalone strategy, wherein let's say soap wala is doing a growth strategy, the washing powder is doing, let's say, a stability strategy, and aapka ready-made food or fast food is doing, let's say, combination strategy, right? They can have a strategy alag, standalone from the entire organization. It has its own set of competitors and own distinct strategy. Uski competitors are also different. Lux, Lifebuoy competitors are different. Washing powder segment में उसके competitors are different. Food segment में the competitors are already different. तभी उसको different strategy चाहिए. Because it has its own set of competitors, that is why its strategy is also different, right? Each SBU has its own CEO. Each SBU has its own CEO. सबका वो head एक ऊपर रहता ही है. It functions like a CEO who has the responsibility of strategic planning. Because it has its own distinct strategy, तो उसको एक CEO भी लगेगा, right? It will also need a CEO because it has its own strategy, right? Yeah, I'll tell you why. When today, no questions because the concepts are very heavy. If I ask questions, you will lose the concept. वो एक के बाद एक structure का flow is easy, and that is why tomorrow I have a full length test for you. Questions बरसेंगे कल, right? So each SBU has a distinct strategy, has a separate CEO for them, and they have a standalone representation strategy different from the entire company, right? That is how an SBU functions, right? Now, SBU groups are unrelated to each other, right? अभी grouping तो उनकी related businesses की होती है. They are grouped together as a related business. Related businesses आपस में common होते हैं. But SBUs are unrelated from each other. Like soap SBU is different from washing powder. Washing powder is entirely different from ready-made food, right? SBUs आपस में are entirely different within, if compared to one another, they are entirely different. But all the businesses within an SBU, are related. SBUs within each other are unrelated, right? Within each SBU, divisions are related to each other. That is what I was saying. SBU are unrelated, but within SBU, all the businesses are related to each other. Individual SBUs are treated as profit centers and controlled by corporate headquarters, right? They're treated as profit center means each SBU is there to give profits. उनकी अपनी strategy है, अपनी balance sheet है, अपना profit and loss account है, right? Each of these SBUs has their own profit and loss account or their own balance sheet, which is then reported to the head office, and then they consolidate everything and look at a business, right? So they're treated as a profit center. Their target is to be profitable. Their target is to bring in more profit for the company as a business unit. Combination of all the related businesses together as a business unit have to become profitable, have to bring in profits for the company, right? That is what the target is. Each SBU is a competitor of each other. Impossible. They cannot be. They are unrelated, sir. Division आपस में Lifebuoy, Lux आपस में competition होंगे. Within SBU, different businesses, because they are related, they're competition of each other. Good point you should remember is, think of logic, sir, logic. Within an SBU, Lux, Lifebuoy, peers, right? Dove. These are competitions they have competition amongst each other. Dove ज़्यादा बिकता है, कौन ज़्यादा profitable है, कौन अच्छे efficiency ला पा रहा है, who is beating the competition better, right? Who has how much market share, right? That is a competition between them. But Surf Excel और Dove का क्या competition? आप Dove से कपड़े नहीं धो सकते और Surf Excel से आप नहा नहीं सकते, right? Or if you are taking a bath with Surf Excel, I don't know. But Surf Excel and Dove, like different SBUs, they are not competition of each other. But related businesses within the SBU are surely a competition of each other, right? Is that clear? Rakesh is saying, are SBU similar to segments under IND-AS, under your AS17? No, yeah, segments are very different. They can be. See, really depends on the company. There is no sure short definition. Okay, segment key, the definition in AS17, the definition of segment is a little different from what we have as an SBU. But segment here, the definition may, if it is fitting, an SBU is fitting within the definition of a segment, then yes, you can do a segment reporting. But there is no basic linkage between them. ऐसा नहीं कि SBU की segment reporting ही होती है. काफी जगह होती भी है. A lot of places people do, a lot of companies do segment reporting of SBUs, but it is not a sure shot thing. Right? It really depends on circumstances and how the business is. Okay, cool. Let us stop the session today here at SBU characteristics, right? I'll just take last 1 or 2 minutes for any questions, any doubts, and tomorrow morning we'll complete chapter number 7 with, I'll bring in tough questions, we'll do doubts, जिसको जो doubts है from chapter 1 to 7, any doubt, we'll try to solve that. I'll try to solve that as much as I can in my capacity. जितना मुझे पता, I'll tell you everything, right? Last 1 or 2 minutes for any doubts. For everyone who is clear on everything, I would again say really thank you for joining in, being and interacting. That really helps. That really helps me to keep the flow on, right? Only when I get answers, it keeps me on to keep on speaking. Otherwise, screen ko dekh ke bolna is very difficult. So thank you for everyone who's being interactive. I wish everyone who's watching could be interactive, but no worries. Any questions and doubts? We'll take that up. Awesome. All clear, great. Thank you, Sandeep. Thanks, Charu. Ananya says all clear. Nitya says all clear. Her says all clear. Chaitanya says thank you. Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for joining and being interactive. What about others? I'll still wait for anyone who's typing a question or something. Probably that takes time. Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you. Now you're free for Saturday. जाके enjoy your Saturday. Probably I would say थोड़ा सा पढ़ भी लेना. Not much. Enjoy your Saturday, but थोड़ा सा पढ़ लेना. Otherwise, you will be in guilt. So guilt trip is very bad. Once you start feeling guilty कि shit पूरा दिन waste हो गया, it is better you just spend 1 or 2 hours studying. बाकी time भेड़ी मचाओ. Probably if you're going out, wear a mask. बिना mask के मत चले जाना. It's still there, even though the restrictions are being taken off. The virus is still outside. Let me quickly see which problem I have. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. MR, thank you. Let's say Sushil, thank you. Reena, thank you. Sushil, Ashok, Shraddha, Ishika, Pooja, Rekha, thank you so much. All right. Happy Saraswati Puja to you as well, Sushil. And happy Basant Panchami again. Right. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's start from where we left off with questions, interesting topics ahead. And I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Take care. Session is done. We can conclude.